right, so Jonah Williams to the IR is that's a problem.
Oh yeah, that really stinks. I mean, you go out and you address a position, of course, you think the Arizona Cardinals need, and they bring in a guy at right tackle, which really puts Beach in a nice position where he's going to be the swing guy coming off the bench at this point in his career. I thought that was going to really pay dividends for the Arizona Cardinals, and now to see this happen, hopefully he's going to be able to come back, obviously, at some point in time, but man, that sucked, buttermilk.
It's more from JG this morning. He was asked how frustrating it is to already be losing offensive linemen.
Yeah, it's the life in the NFL. And figure out a plan and go to work.
So, I mean, he's right. That is life in the NFL, and that will be very evident with the team the Cardinals play against this week because the Rams are missing a ton of players as well. But before we get into that, just for a second, Wolf, I mean, I'm not saying that the offense immediately started to sputter on Sunday because they lost Jonah Williams, but I'm guessing it didn't help. Now, Kelvin Beachum has started in this league for a long time. I'm assuming, having never played on the offensive line before, that Kelvin Beachum, once he gets he knows he's starting against the Rams. He's got this week to prepare as a starter. He's a vet. He's done this. Like, I'm assuming he will be a lot better. And like I said, I'm not saying Jonah Williams is the reason the game flipped, but something contributed to the game flipping on Sunday.
No, you're right about that. And again, there were a number of reasons why that happened. I think just the fact that Kyler Murray was not under center nearly as much in that second half, of course, and the pressure that was starting to come from the opposition, that was the problem. It was a situation where the Bills started upping their pressure, even in rundown situations. Now, you can't abandon the run just because that's happening in rundown situations.
Yeah,
you can't abandon it. At some point in time, you got to gash it. That's what you got to do. Gash that kind of pressure and blitz stuff that might be coming on that in rundown situations. But, you know, there were a lot of things. The wind picked up as well. So we'll have to see. I'm really interested in watching this game, Basinonians, because I do believe this is going to be the best thing that could possibly happen. The Arizona Cardinals right now, they know it. There's a sense of urgency. This is their home opener. They can't let it happen. They can't lose a game. They can't lose this game to the Rams in the division. They have a chance of beating. The Rams are all beat up. I think this is an opportunity right here for the Arizona Cardinals to say, you know what? We need to go out and take care of business. And hopefully that's going to be the case because I think they got a real chance of winning this game.
Well, the Rams are very beat up. Now, the Rams have had the Cardinals number for a long time, really ever since Sean McVay got there. He's not undefeated against the Cardinals anymore, but they've had their number, and they are still a good team. But here's Mike Garafolo yesterday on NFL Live, rattling off some of the injuries the Rams suffered against the Lions on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to patch it together for at least one more week because you mentioned Alaric Jackson has one game left on a suspension. Rob Havenstein, one of their tackles, he missed the game with an ankle injury. They have some degree of hope that he could come back this week, but they don't know for sure. Joe Noteboom is probably going to miss several weeks with a high ankle sprain. Kevin Dotson, Steve Avila, McVay said, is probably going to go on IR. Kevin Dotson has an ankle sprain, but probably going to have to play through it because they're really running low on guys. You see Jonah Jackson probably shift over to one of the guards. They have a 6th-round rookie they can put in at center. It's going to take some work, and they are, as you heard Sean mention, probably going to have to add one or two guys at the offensive line positions just to get through this week and maybe the next few.
Yeah, they're all banged up right there.
Yeah.
And once again, too, this is a very good running team. The Los Angeles Rams and what they did last year, especially in the second half with Kyron Williams as their running back and the fact that they started running the ball a lot more, just like the rest of the NFL for the most part. They really are an excellent rushing team. Kyron Williams, by the way, over 1,100 yards rushing. This is a guy that really made a splash last season. Will he do it again here? And we know the Arizona Cardinals have got to prove that they can stop the run. So if the offensive line is all banged up and the Rams' offensive line is all banged up, you know what? Hopefully they're going to be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and obviously none of that soundbite even accounts for Puka Nacua, who's going to miss the game. He's going to miss a few games now for the Rams. But that's just specifically the offensive line. And for the Cardinals, look, you just heard it from JG's side. The Cardinals lost Jonah Williams. That's life in the NFL.
Yep.
You're not rooting for it. You're not. But this is why when the schedule comes out and everybody's like, "Oh, this team has the hardest strength of schedule," or this one has. I get it to a certain extent. Like if you're playing the Chiefs and another team's playing the Panthers, yeah, okay, you probably have a tougher schedule. But over the course of the season, so much of it is how healthy are you, and are you catching teams when they're not healthy? And the Cardinals, I would say, aren't completely healthy by any means because now you've lost Jonah Williams, B.J. Ojulari, and Darius Robinson already. But you are playing a team this week in the Rams who they're missing at least 50% of their offensive line. And I know the pass rush didn't look great in week 1 for the Cardinals, and I know that it is considered a weakness on this team, but this might be a week where you can get that pass rush going.
Yeah, it could be, obviously, because of the injuries to that offensive line. But, once again, I'm more focused on the Arizona Cardinals and their offense more than anything else. This is what their offense, the onus is on the Arizona Cardinals offense to go out and win games for this team going forward, especially early in the season. That defense, I think, is going to be more of a work in progress, and they're going to have to develop over the course of October, November, and into December. But right now, for me, the strength of this team clearly is the Arizona Cardinals offense. They need to go out there and start playing that way. Now, again, it's been one game. It's been one game, but I'm really going to put a lot of stock in what I see from this offense playing at home in this controlled environment.
I think that's
unlike
fair.
Last year, last week.
I think that's fair because you're right. It's only been one game, and they were really only not good on offense for one half of that one game. But there only are 17 games, and at a certain point you got to get going.
That's
and
right.
It's hard for me to ever pick the Cardinals over the Rams in a game because the Rams just always seem to beat the Cardinals. But man, this would be the time to do it right here. And it would completely erase, in my mind, what happened in week 1. If you could beat the Rams and you're 1-1 coming through these first 2 games and you're 1-0 in the division, I didn't win any division games last year. Like to be 1-0 in the division would be huge. And you got to throw this in there too. The Rams do not have Aaron Donald anymore. Here's Drew Petzing.
It makes a big difference. I mean, certainly, he is arguably the best ever. And I think that's real. So there's part of that process. That being said, the guys that they have on that D-line are still pretty good. I mean, that's probably the strength of the unit, arguably the strength of that team. So I think it's something we still have to be very aware of. It's just more a little bit of by committee talent maybe than one like, oh, my God, player. But it's a pretty good group. Still going to be a good challenge for us, I think, this week.
I did think Jared Verse looked good in the opener against Detroit.
Yeah.
Wasn't that's the guy that was Trey Benson's friend, right?
Yeah, that's right, yes.
He
Yes.
bombed the call that Trey Benson had to Burns and Gambo. Jared Verse was in the background.
Yeah, Jared Verse, great. Well, at least a guy that I think is going to be a very good edge rusher in the National Football League for a long, long time. Yeah, you know what? There's no doubt about it. But I would say this, Kobe Turner also is a guy that I think is really underrated on that Rams defensive front. Very underrated right now. Now, listen, he's not Aaron Donald. He's not Aaron Donald by any stretch.
I don't even think you have to put that
you know
disclaimer
what I mean?
out
Right.
there.
It just,
there is no Aaron Donald in the league right now.
But I would say that Kobe Turner really, here's a guy from a 3-technique position. Here's a guy who plays the interior, and he had 9 sacks last year and did a good job as well getting off some blocks and making some tackles against the run. He's okay. But to me, it's interesting. You look at that, the fact that Yelda Froholt is going to be right in the middle of everything the Arizona Cardinals are going to do on Sunday. And there's going to be some times they're going to have to actually block Kobe Turner. And I think that's going to be the key to the game. I kid you not. The offensive line being able to block the box of the Los Angeles Rams to a point where they can bloody their face, metaphorically speaking, of course, by running the ball. And Kobe Turner is going to be literally right in the middle of all that.
It's going to be fun. But there's also a lot on the line now for both these teams because San Francisco looked pretty amazing on Monday night. Seattle ended up with a win. I know they were facing a rookie quarterback, and Denver's kind of who knows yet. But somebody's coming out of this Cardinals-Rams game 0-2, and this is not the division to start that way. And I do think the Cardinals have a chance to really jump the Rams on Sunday. But, to your overarching point there, they're going to have to do it with offense almost certainly.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.